So I'll be carrying about a day and a half of extra food, which just stinks, but whatever. Anyways, so after I went to the Kroger, I went to the vitamin shop across the street, and um, I go in there. The guy's really nice, and I ask him, what type of vitamins will keep me strong? I'll loosen up and everything. And he goes, these over there. I'm like, oh, okay, cool, just general daily vitamin. And I'm like, oh, where's the fish oil? He shows me the fish oil. He goes to ring me up, and I just about threw up at how expensive those vitamins were. I had no idea how expensive vitamins were. I mean, well, partially, probably the reason why I just about threw up was because I just downed a large Little Caesars pizza by myself in about 30 minutes. So that was probably the main reason why I just about threw up. But he was like, oh yeah, these vitamins, they're more expensive because they're natural vitamins. I'm like, okay, I thought all vitamins were natural. But he goes, oh, no. You see, normally when you take vitamins, when you piss, like all that, it's all yellow and stuff. And I'm like, yeah. He's like, oh, that's all the vitamins being pissed out of your body. I'm like, okay, great. And he's like, see, these vitamins, they stay in. I'm like, okay, cool. And yeah, and then he gives me this alkaline water on the house. He's like, here, have this on the house. You'll enjoy it. After I spent a ridiculous money on vitamins, so it basically was complimentary. And I'm like, okay, what's so special about this water? He's like, oh, this is alkaline water. It'll neutralize all the toxins in your body. I'm like, okay. And I'm like, all I do to neutralize the toxins in my body is go to the privy. That neutralizes my toxins, but apparently he says it's like cures cancer or something. But he was really cool and gave me a cup of joe, and we chatted for a while. I was able to charge my phone, clean up, brush my teeth, and yeah, so I should be just about set on this next resupply, but shoot, felt like I had more to say. Anyways, yeah, I saw some trail magic earlier today going into Daleville. I was hiking into the road. Just before the road, somebody had left a cooler or some free food, so I didn't have to buy quite as much at Kroger, which was nice. And I apologize, I never really explained what trail magic was. Trail magic is when somebody blesses you with something, prominently food and or a ride or a place to stay, just unsolicited and randomly. And yesterday I was hiking down off of the Dragon's Tooth, and right before McAfee's Knob, somebody had left a big pile of apples and oranges, and I took about 6 of them, and I hadn't had produce in probably since my family picked me up, so that was really nice. And I also never explained where I got my name. So Thunderfoot, my dad called me Thunderfoot initially because I started out at Springer Mountain with a 60-pound backpack. I was in good shape, but you can't condition enough for this type of activity or this type of hiking. And so I would stomp my feet going up the hills. There's also this book that we used to read when I was a kid, and one of the characters was Thunderfoot, so started calling me Thunderfoot, and then it kind of went to me making noise in the shelter, because after he left I would make a whole bunch of noise in the shelter because I didn't have camp shoes, and I would wake up earlier than everyone else and just wake everybody up stomping in the shelters with my boots. I've learned to be more quiet. It wasn't on purpose, it just kind of happened. And Crazy Larry said I was called Thunderfoot because when I took my shoes off, my feet smelled so bad that the thunderclouds rolled in. So that actually happened yesterday. I did take my shoes off, and it started raining immediately afterwards, so maybe there's something to that. Anyway, so that's what trail magic is, and that's where I got my name. But right now I'm doing really good. I'm really happy. I'm in a good mood. I feel physically great. I'm rejuvenated. I ate a bunch of food. I've had some days off. I'm covering good miles. The weather is beautiful, and it's springtime, which is great. The first wild edibles of the season are coming up, besides like pine needles and beech bark, which I don't eat very often, but like violets, totally good to eat. Just sitting in a sea of edibles, wild chives. Right where I'm sitting, you can just eat them. But yeah, spring is so great. When my family picked me up, I took on my shoes and realized that I couldn't feel my toes. I regained all the feeling in my toes 3 days off of being in the heat, except for my big toes. My big toes are still numb. I don't know what's wrong with them. I think I might have. I don't think I got frostbite because I never, my feet never got that cold. But I don't know. It's just weird. It's really, really disconcerting, actually. Or maybe some nerves got frozen off. I don't know, but I can't feel my feet or my big toes anymore. I've just gotten kind of used to it. My pack's heavy because of the resupply today, but that'll be all right. I'm just taking it easy. I'm only going 5 miles out of Daleville to the shelter. Just kind of wanting to call some people, reconnect back home. And I'm currently talking to a woman in Wyoming who's opening up a hostel right outside Yellowstone. So I'm considering getting a job out there over the summer, working at a hostel. Also talking to a guy, or emailed a guy who owns a whitewater raft company in Yellowstone who my boss is, or my old boss at the Zionsville Aquatic Center was related to, or I think, or some contact. I forget that whole situation. But at this point, I'm fairly positive that I can complete the whole trail, and I think eventually I will complete the whole trail. However, I don't know if I actually will. I'm getting to the, if it gets to the point where I'm done, I have the attitude of I'm done with this. I don't want to hike anymore. I don't see the point in hiking or continuing to hike. So it could be very likely that you guys might see me off the trail in Harper's Ferry. I might drop out of the through hike, as it's called in Harper's Ferry. I think one day I'll complete the trail, finally reach Katahdin, but this is about the journey, not the destination, and I've kind of accomplished everything that I set out to do, and now I'm just enjoying myself and meeting people and living life out in the woods and enjoying God's creation and fellowship with other people and the solitude in the woods and the spring. Maybe the spring will lift my spirits, and I might, or it already has, but it might empower me to keep walking farther, and I'm just not sure. At this point, only expect me to go to Harper's Ferry, because that's the 1,000 miles mark in West Virginia. But, who knows? But anyways, so that's my update. That's all I got for now. Yeah, so you'll be hearing about me. Probably get this video here in about 100 miles when Todd meets up with me. But alright, so see you guys later. Adios and out.